my bike with my friends. I'm just a little girl, and I like to live in my own world. I'm just a little girl, yeah, 'cause I'm Zolie Zi, and there's nobody like me, yeah. Zolie, I'm Zolie Zi, and don't you forget it. 'Cause I'm Zolie Zi, and there's nobody like me, yeah. Zolie, I'm Zolie Zi, and don't you forget it. 'Cause I'm Zolie Zi, and there's nobody like me, yeah. Zolie, I'm Zolie Zi, and don't you forget it. 'Cause I'm Zolie Zi, and there's nobody like me, yeah. Zolie, I'm Zolie Zi, and don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Don't you forget it. Hi, I'm Zolie Zi, and I approve this message. I've always wanted to say that. I'm Zolie Zi, and I want to thank you for taking time to read my new book called Bullies. Did you know that 20% of students in school will experience bullying at some point in their life? Well, it's true. That is why I wrote this book for all children that may experience bullying at some point in their life, whether at school, playgrounds, or anywhere that bullying can take place. I even wrote this book for bullies too, so that they could see and understand why bullying is not nice. All it takes is one voice and one choice. Bullying must be stopped, and it starts with you. I hope my story of how I spoke out against my bullies will encourage you to speak out against yours. Guess what? I wrote a song for you called Dreams, and I want to dedicate it to you too, so that no matter what you may face in life or at school, that you will never lose your dreams. So remember, once the book is finished, keep listening so that you can hear my new song. Thanks again. I'm Zolie Zi, and don't you forget it. Chapter 1. The Lisp. Hi, my name is Zolie, pronounced Zolie. My middle name is Nova, and my last name is Z, pronounced Z. My friends call me Miss Chit Chat. They call me that because they say I talk a lot. I don't think I talk any more than they do, but you know, everybody has an opinion. That's what my mommy says. I prefer that you just call me Zolie. I'm in the 2nd grade, and I go to Helping Hands Academy for the gifted and talented children. Yep, that's me, gifted and talented. My teacher's name is Miss Mahogany, and science is my favorite subject. I have 2 best friends that go to school with me. Their names are Messiah Love and Yoki Kai. One thing I don't like to do in school lately is called reading out loud. Reading out loud is when each person has to take turns reading chapters from our textbooks in class out loud. I mean, I'm a good reader and all. Actually, the fastest in class. But I just don't like it, especially not lately. I really don't like talking about it to anyone, but I could tell you. See, I get picked on a lot because Mommy says I have what is called a lisp. So I asked her one day, Mommy, how did I get a lisp? Did I spit a lot when I was a baby or something? Or did I suck my thumb too long? And she said, No, Zolie, that's just how you started talking from day one. There is nothing wrong with you, Zozo. And then I said, Mommy, yes it is. I'm different. And then my mom said, Zolie, you are perfect just the way you are. The only difference is that you pronounce your words a little different from some of your classmates at school. See, from what Mommy helped me understand, is that a lisp is when I have a hard time pronouncing the letters S and Z without putting the S sounds to them. So when I say words that have a Z in them, it sounds like I'm saying Zolie instead of Zolie. I know, it sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. You know what? I have to live with my lisp every day. And I am always reminded by one of my classmates that I have it. Like, for instance, this one boy named Jeremy always makes fun of how I talk every day. As soon as I walk in the classroom door, he yells out, "Captain! Zolie! Wolie! Dolie! Ole! Oh, yeah! Ho! Ho! Oh, yeah!" See? Things like that make me wish I did not have this lisp. I always have to say the same thing to him every day, just like this. Are you serious, Jeremy? Every day, huh? You need to STP. Stop it, please, like right now. I cannot help the way I talk, Jeremy, and I don't need you reminding me every day. You don't hear me making fun of how your lips always look like you dipped them in powdered donut bags, do you? That would be mean for me to remind you every day you walk in class by yelling out, "I need Vaseline, please! Vaseline for these ashy lips! Vaseline! Oh, 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 Vaseline for Jeremy!" And before I can go on about how mean it is, he'll interrupt me and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, Zolie. I like how you talk. It makes me laugh. You're all right with me, Zolie Zi." And then he'll start laughing. I shake my head and say to him, "You should think before you just say mean things to people. That is all I'm saying." By that time, Miss Mahogany will interrupt us by putting her things down at her desk and saying, "All right, you two, enough is enough. Jeremy, leave Zolie alone, and Zolie, turn around in your seat, please." Believe it or not, that is usually how it happens every day. But it doesn't really bother me so bad with Jeremy because I know he's just going to be who he is. And because I'm Zolie Zi. And don't you forget it. Chapter 2, Super Salad. Today in class, we learned about eating healthy because our school cafeteria is switching over to a new, healthier menu for the students. A lot of kids had questions about the new menu, so Miss Mahogany decided to take some time to talk to us about it. One thing on the menu that we talked about was called the Super Salad. So I asked, "Miss Mahogany, what is a super salad?" And she said, "Zolie, it is a salad that has everything you can imagine on it. Lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, eggs, croutons, onions, and all kinds of stuff." And then I said, "Why do little kids need a super salad?" And Miss Mahogany replied, "Well, I think that's really for the adults, and it may have been a mistake the cafeteria made and put it under the children's section. You don't need a super salad, you just need a little salad." So I said, "Oh, okay, I agree." And then I giggled to myself. A few more students asked questions, and then the school bell rang for us to go to recess. So you know what that means for me. Playtime! I usually play outside with my best friends, Messiah and Yoki, and we like to swing on the swings, walk around, and talk about girl stuff. Do you want to know what our two most favorite things to do are? One is we really like to play double dutch with our jump ropes. And two is doing our cheers that we make up. Would you like to hear one of our cheers? Okay, here it goes. Jump in the car, check, check. Put your feet on the gas, check, check. Jump back, check, check. Let Zolie pass, check, check. Ain't she pretty, check, check. Just a little cutie, check, check. I know you want some, check, check. But you can't have none, check, check. And then, right before we can start up for someone else's turn, here comes this girl named Charlene and her friend Tanya. Charlene and Tanya are what we call bullies. They pick on everybody all the time, and no one ever stands up to them, ever. They are so mean to us for no reason at all. But we usually just ignore them or give them what they want so that they can leave us alone. But today was not an easy day to get rid of them. One of the girls, Charlene, came over to me and Yoki and Messiah while we were doing our cheers and said, "Hey, Zolie, I really like the way you said super salad today in class. You sounded like you were spitting the word out instead of saying it." And then she poked Tanya in the side and said, "Right, Tanya." And then Tanya said, "Yeah, super salad." And then I said, "What do you mean by that? I just said it the way I know how to say it." Then Charlene said, "Yeah, and you sprayed it out all over the class. And you always say your words like you're a baby." She then put her hands on her hips and pointed at me and said, "You are a stupid salad, Zolie, and you talk like a baby." And then she just laughed and kicked dirt at me and gave Tanya a funny face. My friend Messiah stepped up and said, "Zolie, you do not have to say nothing back to them." And then I said, "Okay, I won't." And then Messiah said, "Let's go, Zolie. They're just meanies." And then I said, "Yeah, they are." We all just stood there for a second before we started to walk off. Then Charlene and Tanya both looked at me and waved and said, "Bye-bye, Miss Spitty Z." Or better yet, we should say it in baby language for you. "Goo-goo gaga see?" And then Tanya yells out, "Hey, Zolie, we want to get you an early birthday present. How about some bibs?" Right after that, Charlene said, "And for Christmas, we're going to buy you a new mouth so that you can talk like the big girls." They both high-fived each other and kept laughing. I just gave them both a blank look because I didn't know what else to say. I can't help how I talk. I just can't. So Messiah, Yoki, and I just started walking back towards the classroom to get away from Charlene and Tanya. As we walked away, they shouted out, "Yeah, that's right, walk away. You're just dumb, Zolie. Face it. You talk in baby language. Maybe you should go back to daycare so that you could be with the babies since you talk like one." I didn't even look back. I just kept walking. And this time, I couldn't help but hold my head down. Today has turned into a horrible day. My friend Yoki was like, "Just ignore them and keep walking, Zolie. They're just meanies." I wanted to tell my teacher, but I remembered something my mommy used to say to me when I was little, and I would tell everything all the time. She would say, "Zolie, tattletellers tell tales because they can't have everything go their way. So stop being a teller. You tell too much." So I didn't want to be a teller and go tell Miss Mahogany, so I just didn't tell. I was quiet for the rest of the day in class. I was really sad. Like, really. This day has not been a good one. Chapter 3, The Cafeteria. It's day 2 of school, and I still feel really sad about what happened yesterday. So I just try not to talk as much today, you know? I just kept my eyes from looking at them in class and I talked very little. I just hoped that the day would fly by, and it did. Before I knew it, the school bell rang and it was time for lunch. At lunch, my friends Messiah, Yoki, and I always sit at the table by the window so we can look outside and see the birds and stuff. I love the sunlight. My mommy says it gives you vitamins that you can't get anywhere else. So, okay, we're sitting at our favorite lunch table, minding our own business, when Tanya and mean green Charlene came walking towards our table, pointing and laughing. Then I heard Tanya say, "Yeah, it looks like there's room for us to sit with Zolie and her friends. Let's sit there." And then Charlene said real loud, "Yeah, I'm sure they won't mind." They both just burst out laughing, and looked at each other with a funny grin. And can you believe this? They had the nerve to sit down at our table. And this time, Tanya started this bullying again. And she said, "So, Zolie," like making fun of the way I say my name, "Charlene and I noticed that you are being really quiet today. Right, Charlene?" And then mean green Charlene looked at me and said, "Yeah, you are really quiet today, Zolie. What's the matter? Did we hurt the baby's feelings yesterday? What, you don't feel like spitting up today or spitting your words out?" And then Yoki said, "You guys are so mean. I mean, why do you keep messing with Zolie? You see, she's just ignoring you." And I was just thinking to myself, I really don't know what to say, because if I say something, they're just going to make fun of me. So I just didn't want to say anything. I just ignored them and kept eating my food. But they kept on talking and saying mean things to me. Out of nowhere, Messiah said, "You know what? We don't have to take this. Don't have to listen to this, Zolie. Come on, let's go now." Then Charlene said, "Yes, she does have to take this. Who do you think you are, her spokesperson or something? Let her speak for herself." So then I said, "I just wish you guys would leave me alone. I can't help how I talk for the last time. Don't you understand that?" Then I looked at my friends and say, "Come on, let's go. I'm not hungry anymore." So I picked up my tray and started walking towards the trash can so that I can get out of the cafeteria. Ugh! I just want to go home. So then Tanya blurted out, "We are not done talking to you, Zolie Zi," mocking the way I say my name again. And then I said, "You may not be done talking to me, but I am done listening to you." And then Charlene yelled out, "It's not over, Zolie Zi. Just remember that." I just shook my head and kept walking. This is crazy. Messiah looked at me as we were walking towards the trash can and said, "Zolie, what's the matter with you? Why don't you just go tell Miss Mahogany that they are bothering you?" And then I said, "I don't know. I just don't." And then Messiah said, "If you don't go tell Zolie, then I will." I just stopped walking right where I was and said, "No, don't do that. Please. I will handle it. I just need some time to figure out how, okay?" And then she said, "Okay, but don't wait too long, Zolie." I just looked at her and said, "Okay, I won't." But I knew I wasn't going to tell because I was too afraid to. Chapter 4. Just leave me alone. So finally, home sweet home. And I just didn't want to be bothered. So I was really quiet when I finally got home. I walked up to the door and took a deep breath. And then I walked through the door. Usually, I yell out, "Zolie's in the house," to let everyone know that I'm home. But that was not the case today. My twin brother Zolie said, "Zolie, something's wrong with you. Why are you so quiet today? You didn't talk to me at all. You just let me walk ahead of you with Trey." And then I said, "I just had a rough day at school." And then Zolie looked at me and said, "What happened?" Then I said, "I don't want to talk about it." And then he said, "Zolie, what happened, girl? You can tell me anything. I'm your twin brother." Then he nudged me and said, "He got that twin power." And then I said, "Just leave me alone, Zolie. I don't want to be bothered." Then he said, "Whoa, okay, I'll leave you alone. Girls, you never understand them." As I walked towards my room, from the corner of my eye, I saw Zolie as he walked off with his hands in the air like he gives up. And I felt bad for being mean to him, so I yelled out, "Thanks, Zolie. I will tell you all about it when I feel better, okay?" So I finally got to my room, closed the door, and turned on my jazz music because I love jazz or classical music. My mommy listens to it when we're in the car together. She'd say, Zolie, this is relaxation music, and it expands your brainwaves. Well, I need to relax, so jazz it is. I then lay on my rug and close my eyes and think of reasons why I don't have to go to school tomorrow. As I was laying on the floor in my room, my baby sister Sasha came to my door and said, Zolie, can I come in? I said, No, Sasha. I just want to be left alone right now. She asked, Why, Zolie? You don't want to be my friend anymore? Are you mad at me? Then I said, No, I'm not mad at you, Sasha. Sister just needs to be left alone right now. Then she said, Oh, okay. And then she looked at me. Zolie? Yes, Sasha, I said. I love you. I'll leave you alone now, she said. Then I said, I love you too, Sasha, and thank you for checking on me. I'll come get you when I feel better, okay? And then she said, okay, and closed the door as she left my room. The rest of that evening, I just kind of sat in my room, did my homework, and listened to my jazz music. I didn't even want to eat dinner. But then I heard my mama say, Zolie! Zolie! You better get your rump down here and eat! So I shouted, Yes, ma'am, I'm on my way, and hurried on into the dining room with everyone else. Hey, I'm not trying to get the seat of my pants warmed up, get a spanking. So when my mommy says move, I move, no questions asked. Chapter 5, Reading Out Loud. Back to school I went, and it is day 3, and I don't know what to expect, so I'm just quiet again, but sad to say, not the whole period, because today was the read out loud day again. And I had to read out loud today, and boy, was I not happy about that. When we read out loud, we normally sit in a circle and take turns reading a sentence, and we fill in the blank sometimes. Fill in the blank is when you have to figure out what word goes in the blank spot, and then you read the sentence with the word you think goes in the blank spot. Today we had to sit in a circle to read. Miss Mahogany usually lets us sit by our friends, and then each person reads out loud when their turn comes around. So here it is, my turn to read, and I'm reading these sentences to fill in the blanks with the right word. And so here's the first sentence. A fish blanks through its gills. And the choices are talks or breathes. So I choose breathes. So then I have to read the whole sentence with the right word in it. So then I said, a fish breathes through its gills. And Miss Mahogany smiled at me and said, That's right, Zolie. And then I had one more fill in the blank to do. And it read, a whale must blank swim or jump to the surface to breathe. So I chose swim. And then I read, a whale must swim to the surface to breathe. And then Miss Mahogany smiled and nodded her head and said, Right again, Zolie. Good job. I got 2 smiley face stickers by my name on the board today from filling in the blank with the right word. I was really in a happy moment, as Mommy would call it, until I just so happened to look up from my book and see Charlene and Tanya giggling as they whispered to each other. I just looked at them and shook my head, and I almost put my face in the book as I sighed and thought, I'm ready to go home. Miss Mahogany said, Okay, class, the bell has rung and it is time for recess. And so I said, Miss Mahogany, can I stay in today, please? Why, Zolie? She said. And I said, because I just don't want to go outside today. Then she said, I'm sorry, Zolie, but we all have to go outside. So you can't stay in here alone, sweetie. And then I put my head down and said, okay. Miss Mahogany then looks at me and asks, Is everything all right, Zolie? You look like something is bothering you. And then I said, No, Miss Mahogany, everything is okay. I walked slowly to the door to open it. Then my friends Yoki and Messiah saw me come out the door and they yelled to me, "Come on, Zolie, let's go. Let's get on the swings." So I lifted my head and shouted, "Here I come." And so we swung and laughed, and we were just having a good time, getting ready to start our cheers. When here they come again, Charlene and Tanya. So I take a deep breath and said to myself, "Really? Today is not the day to bother me." I just folded my arms and held my head to the side and stared crazy at them because I was fed up with them picking on me every day. So Charlene said, "Hey, Zolie." Then I said, "Hey, what?" She said, "A whale must swim to the surface to breathe." You should learn to open your mouth wider when you speak because you were spitting all over the place when you were reading. I thought it was raining in the room because you were spitting so much. I just looked at her and I said something that I shouldn't have said, but it just came from nowhere. And then I yelled out, "Girl, you need to be the last one talking because your hair is so nappy that your mama needs a lawnmower to cut your hair." Then she said, "Girl, you spit so much that when you talk, people should carry umbrellas so that you won't spit all over them." And then I said, Oh, that is not nearly as bad as those yellow teeth you got in your mouth. Girl, it looks like you've been chewing on butter sticks all day. You should be the spokesperson for I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. You be perfect, don't you think? Charlene stepped back, and before she could say anything else, I added to that. And oh yeah, there is an invention out right now called the toothbrush. Get one. And then try going back and forth, repeat, back and forth, then up and down, and oh yeah, don't forget to brush your tongue since that's the place where all your filthy words come off of. You are the meanest girls in the world, Charlene and Tanya. And I didn't realize it, but we had a crowd around us. Charlene said, "Oh yeah, Zolie, I can get rid of my yellow teeth and nappy hair, but you will never get rid of your spitty speech, Zolie Zi. You are so dumb that you can't even control your tongue enough to not sound like a baby." And then I said, "You know what? I'm not wasting another word on you. And you are just a big bully, Charlene." Charlene said, "Yeah, to you, Zolie, and I will make your life miserable every day from now on. How you like them apples, red or whiny like you will be?" I just sighed and shook my head. I wanted to scream to the top of my lungs, but I knew that would get me sent to the principal's office. I just looked at her and said, "Charlene, this whole scene is stupid. This conversation is over." And didn't say anything else because I knew she was not fibbing. She would make my life miserable at school. And before Charlene could say anything else, Messiah and Yoki grabbed my arms and said, "Zolie, let's go by Miss Mahogany so these mean girls can leave you alone." I looked at them and said, "Let's do that before it gets worse. I just want to get back to the classroom so they'll leave me alone." Charlene and Tanya then looked at each other and started laughing and said, "Hey, we should add some running shoes to the list of things to get for Zolie, since she always runs from us with her bodyguards." That was it. I was about to let her have it, but Messiah reached over to grab my shirt and put her hand over my mouth because I started walking towards her. Then Yoki grabbed my other arm and started pulling me away too. Then Messiah said, "Zolie, no, don't let them take you there." I was so upset that my head started hurting and then my eyes were tearing up because I couldn't get them back. I just said, "I'm tired of this every day. I want to go home." As we walked off, I could hear them saying, "Oh, did we make the baby mad?" Should we get her a pacifier too? And then they just laughed out loud. We just kept walking the other direction back to the classroom where Miss Mahogany was standing by the door. I can't take this no more. Chapter 6. Do I have to go to school? It is day 4, and I did not want to get out of bed. So I just lay there and threw the covers back over my head. I said to myself, maybe if I pretend to be sick, Mommy won't make me go to school. So I then thought to myself, what can I say is wrong with me? Oh yeah, a tummy ache. So then I just continued to lie there in bed, pretending I have a tummy ache. My mommy knows the exact time I come out of my room, walk into the bathroom to brush my teeth and wash my face. So before I can try to go back to sleep, my mommy is yelling, Zolie, come on here so I can do your hair. She doesn't have to do it every day. Some nights she makes me tie it down with a night scarf. And when the morning comes, she just makes sure it looks right. Well, today was not one of those mornings. My hair was standing straight up on top of my head like I had stuck my hand in a light socket or something. At any moment, I knew I would hear footsteps coming towards my door, and I did. My mom walked to my door and opened it and said, Zolie, girl, you better wake your buns up. I didn't hear you up doing your usual, so I thought I would come up here to see what's going on with you. I pulled the cover back from my face and looked at her. I wanted to tell a fib, but my mommy doesn't like for us to fib to her. So I said, Mommy, I don't want to go to school no more. And she said, Zolie, you are taking your rump to school today. I cannot take off of work to stay home with you if you are not sick. And then I said, I know, Mommy, but I really don't want to go to school today. Or anymore. And then she looked at me and said, Zolie, what's going on in school that you really don't want to go? I said, Mommy, I can't tell you. Then she lifted my chin, looked me in my eyes and said, Zolie, you could tell me anything. I'm listening. And when she said that, I just started crying real bad. I looked at her and said, Mommy, these girls at school named Charlene and Tanya, they make fun of me every day. They call me stupid and spitty mouth, and they make fun of my lips. And I just can't take it anymore. They come up to me at recess, at lunch, in the restrooms, and whatever they can get me without a teacher being there to stop them. I don't want to go to school anymore, please. Please don't make me go to school, Mommy. My mommy just looked at me and said, Oh, sweetie, I am so sorry that you have to go through that with your classmates at school. And then she pulled me to her and hugged me and said, Zolie, why didn't you go tell your teacher? And how come you never told me about this? And then I said, because you told me that I tattle too much and that tattlers tell tales because they can't get what they want. So I just didn't tell. And then she said, Zolie, something like that is worth telling. And that is called bullying. No one deserves to be bullied, no matter who they are, what they look like, how they speak, or where they live. Everyone deserves to be respected. And honey, so do you. At this point, I was crying harder. My mom looked at me and said, It's gonna be okay. And today, Mommy is going to go to school with you to talk with your teacher and the principal, okay? And then I said, But Mommy, what if they try to beat me up for telling on them? She said, Zolie, as long as someone like your teacher or principal knows that you are being bullied, they will more than likely leave you alone and not bully you anymore. And then I said, Okay. My mom looked at me and said, I want you to get ready, Zolie, and we're going to go to your school and get this resolved. And then you and I will spend the rest of the afternoon together, okay? Then she wiped the tears from my eyes and kissed my forehead and said, "If no one loves you, Zolie, I do. And most importantly, you should love yourself. You are perfect, just the way you are, Zolie." Then I looked at her and said, "I am?" And she said, "Yes, honey. Everyone is made the way they're supposed to be. And that is why it is important that you treat people the way you want people to treat you. Always remember that, sweetie. You get what you put out. It's like a boomerang. So be careful what you throw out to others because it will make its way back around to you." I just looked at my mom and said nothing so I could remember what she is saying. Then she said, "Did you hear me?" Then I said, "Yes, ma'am. I will remember that." I love my mommy. She is so smart. Chapter 7. Your bullying days are over. I am so excited when we arrived at school. And of course I was late, so my mom said to me, "Zolie, when you walk in this building, you hold your head high because you have nothing to be ashamed of. You are a very special person, and no matter what anyone says or tries to do to you, always smile and always remember to treat others like you would want them to treat you." I looked at her and said, "Thank you, Mommy. I will. And Mommy, I am so glad that you are my mommy." And then I hugged her. So my mom walked with me into the front office. And since I can't be in grown folks' conversation, she tells me to have a seat while she signed me in. Then I heard her ask to speak to the principal. The principal's name is Miss Satire. She is really nice, too. She came up to get my mom, and then before they go into her office, my mom said to me, "Zolie, stay put. I'll be right back." And then I said, "Okay." I don't know what went on in that office, but when my mommy and Miss Satire came out, my mom said, "Okay, Zolie, I want you to show us who the two girls are. And Miss Satire is going to go talk to them and call their parents. But first, we need to go see Miss Mahogany and let her know what has been going on in her class." And then I said, "Okay." As we were walking down the hall and we get closer to the door of my class, my stomach started feeling like it was going into knots. I was so nervous and scared, but my mommy gripped my hand to let me know everything would be okay. When we get to the door of the classroom, Miss Mahogany is at the board teaching the class. My mom opened the door, and then Miss Mahogany stopped writing on the board and said, "There she is. Hi, Zolie." She then looked at me with a big smile. Then I waved and said, "Hi, Miss Mahogany." My mom said, "Go take your seat, honey. I want to talk to Miss Mahogany alone." The next thing I know, my mommy, Miss Mahogany, and Miss Satire all go out in the hallway and have grown-up conversation. I'm scared, but I know Mommy will get this all taken care of for me. Bonus chapter 8. The apology. It has been about 10 minutes, and they are still outside the door talking. And then, out of nowhere, Charlene said, "So, I see Miss Spitty Speech decided to join us today." I just looked at her and said, "Charlene, if I was you, I would stop right now." And then she said, "What are you going to do, Zolie? Tell?" And I said, "Yup. That's why my mommy, Miss Mahogany, and Miss Satire are in the hallway right now. Because I told my mom that you and Tanya have been bullying me because I have a speech problem that's called a lisp. And seriously, I just got tired of taking your mess. So again, I say, if I were you, I'd wrap up the small talk and toss it in the trash because your bullying days are over." And then Charlene said with a scared look on her face, "You told all of them?" And then I said, "No, just my mommy." She then said, "I'm going to get in big trouble if they call my mom." And then I said, "That's what I want to happen because no one deserves to be bullied, Charlene." And then she said, "You're a big tattletale." Then I said, so what? I do what is right because I'm Zolie Zi, and don't you forget it. And then I looked at her and said, you should learn to treat people the same way you want to be treated. And before she could say anything else, my mom, Miss Mahogany, and Miss Satire walked back in the door, and they called me, Charlene, and Tanya to come outside the door. So we went outside, and they talked to Charlene and Tanya, and they asked them, is it true that every day they bother me? They say, no, she bothers us. Then I said, that is not true, and you know it's not. Everyone sees you guys come to bother me. No matter where I am, I never bother you. I then add, I can call everyone out here as my witness. So then Charlene started crying. And then Tanya too. And they both said, yes, we do bully her every day. Miss Satire looked at them and said, how would you feel if someone bullied you every day? Wouldn't that make you feel sad? And they both nodded their heads. Yes. Miss Mahogany then said, well, I'm going to have to call your parents and let them know what you guys have been doing up here at school. I think they will be very surprised to know that their daughters are up here making life for their fellow classmates so difficult. And then Tanya said, Miss Mahogany, please don't call my mom. Miss Mahogany looked at Tanya and said, I'm sorry, Tanya, but I have to call her. Next time, you'll have to think twice before you bully someone. And then Tanya just put her head down. After that, Miss Satire stepped up again and said, I think you both owe Zolie an apology, don't you think? And they both nodded with tears streaming down their faces. Charlene and Tanya looked at me and said, sorry, Zolie, for bullying you. And then my mother said to them, Zolie has a speech impediment, and it's not nice to make fun of her because she doesn't sound like you, okay? Just remember that. When you feel the need to say something ugly to her, remember, she has feelings just like you. And then my mommy looked at me and said, Zolie, you told me you said some pretty mean things to them too. And so you need to apologize for what you said. So I turned to them and said, I'm sorry for the mean things I said to both of you. And then Miss Satire said, okay, little ladies, let's go. We're going to have to call your parents. She then took them both with her, and they walked up to the front office. Miss Mahogany and my mother said their goodbyes, and then she told Miss Mahogany that I would be spending the rest of the afternoon with her. Miss Mahogany looked at me and waved and said, bye, Zolie. I will see you Monday. And next time, don't wait so long to tell me if you're being bullied. Bullies have to be stopped as soon as they start. And then I said, yes, ma'am, Miss Mahogany. See you on Monday. I said see it to Miss Mahogany because my mom says there is never a good and bye. So she says, just say see you, Zolie, because you hope to see them again soon. And then Mommy and I left my school so that we could spend the rest of our day together. I love my mommy. See, being a toddler isn't so bad after all. That is, if you have to tell when it's really necessary to tell. I tell you what, though, being bullied is not fun. I am so glad that's over. When Monday came, I went to school, and I was back to my old self again, smiling, laughing, and having fun with my friends. Why? You know why. Because I'm Zolie Zi, and don't you forget it. And because I know I don't have to worry about being bullied about my speech impediment anymore. My friends like me for who I am. And besides that, I like me too. And remember, before you bully someone, think about how you would feel if you were the one getting bullied. If you were just too afraid to stand up for yourself, then get a few of your friends together and stand up to the bullies and let them know that bullying is not nice. Let them know that you will not stand by and watch your friend being bullied. My mom says that there is power in numbers, especially if what you are standing up for is something good. And remember to always tell an adult so that they can stop the bullying before it gets started. Well, I have to go because my mommy is waiting for me. If you want a friend, you have to first show yourself friendly. Well, that's what my mommy says. Don't you be a bully. Until next time, I'm Zolie Zi.